Hi everyone, we're here with Paul Hackett, Chief Executive of Optivo, and I'm going to be interviewing him for Housing Day. So welcome, Paul.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We're going to be talking about community investment and you as Chief Executive of Optivo. What do you think of when we talk about community investment? What does that mean to you?
For me, it's a really integral part of what housing associations do. We build more than just homes, we build communities, and the services that we provide around those communities, whether it's jobs and training, whether it's support with financial inclusion, debt advice, they're all really important aspects, in my view, of building successful communities. And I think the bigger developments you build, the more need there is to provide more services.
And I know that we often hear that community investment described as fluffy or an add-on. So following on from what you were saying, what would you say to that?
Well, I think back to 2015 when we had the rent cut, and talking to colleagues from other large housing associations, G15 organisations, about the reaction to the rent cut and whether or not we would reduce what some people regard as discretionary services. But I was really struck by how every organisation was saying, actually, this is really important stuff. In fact, when things become more difficult because of welfare changes, arguably there's an even bigger need to provide other services. So I don't think it's fluffy. I think it's a really important part of what we do. And I think that you say you invest to save.
I agree with that. Okay, so how do you manage as a wide and big geographically located organisation? How do you manage the different priorities within different regions? How do you manage that?
I think it's really about recognising that to really lever the skills we've got, we need to work in partnership with others. So we invest about £3.5 million a year in community development, and around £1 million of that comes from other partners. So as an example, we're involved in an EU-funded project to help 4,000 social housing tenants on both sides of the channel, it's an Anglo-French project to help people into work and to set up their own businesses. So we look to where we can build partnerships and lead those. In other areas, we'll form partnerships with local authorities, with charities. So it's about finding the right partnerships so that we can make the biggest contribution.
Great. Of all the G15 organisations, all but one organisation specifically mentioned communities in their mission statement. How do we get influential leaders like yourself to see that community investment is actually core to the business?
I think if we think about where the sector is going longer term, which will mean, in my view, more land-led development, creating places and curating and managing those places for the very long term. To make those places successful, as mixed income communities, we need to do more than just build homes. So I would encourage housing colleagues to think about how they're going to make sure those communities are successful. And that isn't just about providing basic housing management services, it also involves providing other services as well.
Could you tell us more? Can you expand on that? Tell us more about the partnership working that you're doing with regards to community investment stuff.
We're involved in a couple of really interesting partnerships that are making a big difference to people's lives. Both have to do with rent collection. So these are benefits for business as well as for residents. The first one is a project called Rentflex with the Centre for Responsible Credit. It's funded by JP Morgan, and we're working with the Housing Association in Manchester to scale up a project which we initiated last year, which is giving people the opportunity to pay their rent in a way that suits them. So acknowledging the fact that people will have to pay big expenses perhaps when their kids are going back to school in the summer or before Christmas, and we allow people to build up credit and then have a rent-free period. Tenants have uneven payment profiles, so this formalises the way that works. And we ran a pilot last year, and we found that the 60 families that were in the rent flexibility, their rent arrears ended up £340 lower than the control group of residents that didn't have room flex. So it was a really interesting example of how thinking differently, working in partnership with others, delivered better results. We're involved in another project with the Money and Mental Health Institute, and that's looking at how housing associations communicate with people who have got rental arrears and who are perhaps not engaging with their landlord. And often that's because people go into denial, they get very frightened about their arrears, and this can have an exacerbating effect on mental health issues. So working with the Money and Mental Health Institute, we've found different ways to communicate with people that enables them to feel safer and more confident about liaising with us, and again that has been delivering better results. So they're two really simple examples, but they really have worked, and we're looking to expand those projects.
So how do you measure the output? How do you measure what is successful and
within our corporate plan we have 4 big priorities. Each has 2 KPIs, and one of the measures that the board look at every board meeting is the number of people that we help into jobs and training. Last year we helped 1,200 people, 60% into jobs, 40% into training opportunities. So that's something that they are really interested in. We then have a suite of scorecards that look at other outcomes. We help about 5,000 people through different programs each year, ranging from basic skills with CV writing. We provide a project for families who experience domestic violence, counselling service linked to some of our hostels. We have a furniture store, and we measure the outcome of that by the number of pieces of furniture we provide to people on low incomes. So we do an awful lot of stuff that is actually quite below the radar. We measure it, we don't really shout about it. Maybe that's something we should do more.
And leading on from that, do you think we need more focus on community investment in the media?
I think we probably do. I think most people, if you talk about housing associations, wouldn't really think about the things we do beyond providing bricks and mortar. We did a piece of work a few years ago at G15, and it turns out we spend about £65 million a year between us on community investment programs of various kinds. That was just in London. So the impact we're making across the capital is tremendous. If that money was taken away, people would really feel it. But could we do more to promote what we're doing? Could we do more to lever in further external funding? Probably yes.
I know the industry is really interested in being able to measure the impact of the work that we do within the sector. So how do you promote and the outputs and the benefits of all the community investment work that you do?
I think the sector's not very good actually at promoting what we do with community investment. People know about the number of homes, politicians can quote those numbers very readily. When it comes to the number of jobs that we create, the number of training places we create, the number of people with support needs that we help, people less fluent, I think, to come up with the answers and the numbers. And I think there's a job to be done for the sector to actually describe that more effectively. And if any government is looking at connecting people with opportunity into jobs, housing associations are really ideally placed because we have that long-term relationship in communities and neighbourhoods. We know our residents have a long-term relationship with individuals, so we're really ideally placed to be able to help people make the transition from unemployment into work and through to the stage of their lives. So maybe we need more case studies, maybe we need to describe what we're doing in human terms, but also I think we need to describe some of the big numbers because they might be eye-catching numbers for government.
Great. With regards to measuring the outputs of community investment, I know that there's sector-wide, I think, lack of understanding or consistency in what to measure and how we measure. What are your thoughts on that?
Measurement's important. It's an important way to make a case for investment. At Optivo, we have hard measures such as the number of people helped into jobs. That's really nice and easy to measure. We also look at the Hackett social value model as well, and it's a useful tool, we don't tend to use it as a means of driving investment decisions, but more as a means of looking at the impact of different projects and how we compare them. So after the event, we tend to look at it more as a retrospective view rather than an investment decision view. I'm quite interested in the work that Hackett have done recently, which measures the impact of a social tenancy and tries to monetise the impact on health, on welfare and other costs. So I don't think there's one silver bullet when it comes to measuring social value. I think we need to look at a range of different measures, and the Hackett model is really good. The Hackett one was really interesting. So I think we need to look at all these measures, but we need to get the narrative right. It's how we describe how those things come together.
Thank you. Apart from building new homes, what is your personal vision for Optivo and the wider sector in 2020 and beyond?
Okay. Well, I think housing associations are more important now than they've ever been. We are living through the worst housing crisis that we've had, pretty much in living memory. So using our really quite considerable resources to build more homes has to be fundamental to that. But we very much were of the view when we formed Optivo that we wanted to prove you can be a large developing housing association and really involve residents in running the organisation, and because of that deliver great customer services. So I think that we're into a new era of consumer regulation. We're playing catch up with responding to Hackett and the fire safety agenda. There's lots of investment that need to go into our homes, but I hope that by 2020 and beyond we'll be seen as trusted partners that are valued by our residents, that our residents are our biggest advocates because we're listening to what they say and we're delivering great services and great value for money. And I think the model for housing associations longer term is going to be more about placemaking, more about mixed tenure, more about larger communities that are going to be mixed income, mixed tenure, and designed in a way that's about long-term stewardship rather than short-term profit.
Thank you very much, Paul. That was Paul from Optivo. Keep following us throughout the day. Lots of stuff coming up. #Housing Day. See you soon.